Mars, the planet of drive, motivation, and ambition, is moving signs, which hasn't moved signs since January 6th. And it's been in some lazy, kind of slower, receptive energy. So if you are interested in learning about the big shift that is upon us, then stay tuned. Hello everybody, Yelena here. If we've never met before, then welcome to my channel. And if you are back, then thank you so much for being a returning person in this community. I make videos all about spirituality, astrology, spiritual awakening, and also meditation and transformational coaching on how to heal yourself. So if you are interested in any of those topics, please do not delay. Hit that subscribe button below, as well as the like button. And if you feel inclined at any time during this video, please leave me a comment below. I always love to hear your feedback and your experiences and how you relate to the material that I'm giving. So anyways, with no further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into the video today all about Mars, the planet of ambition, drive, motivation. Our will to get things done is finally moving out of the slow and steady, feminine, more receptive sign of Taurus. Okay, so it has been in the sign of Taurus since January 6th. And I don't know about you guys, but I sure have felt a slowdown. I was much more or less motivated. I really honestly had no ambition to move my body or do too much exercise. I honestly haven't done any yoga or anything in a really long time. And I am really looking forward to this big shift. So what does this entail? Mars, it is our will to get things done. It is what makes us motivated to achieve, to do things on the daily. It is also the planet that's known for being the planet of war. And it can bring confrontation, conflict. It can sometimes tend to cut things out of our lives. Mars rules things like knives, weapons, swords, guns, and it can maybe cause accidents, which those are just a couple of the negative significations of it. But of course, we don't want to just spiritually bypass all of the negative things just to make it sugar-coated or sound more positive. So I like to add a little bit of both in there just to give a more realistic interpretation of how this could play out for you. So I'm going to get into this just a little bit further, and then we are going to break this down, and I'm going to give you guys a reading for all 12 signs of the Zodiac. So this is going to be moving into Gemini, which is an air sign. Air signs are very communicative, very intellectual. They really need a lot of intellectual stimulation, especially Gemini being super inquisitive and curious and really liking to learn many different topics, getting bored easily, hopping around from thing to thing to thing, just to keep their minds stimulated. And Mars being this action-oriented, initiating, driving force, and it represents our pure life force energy. So you can imagine combining the two of those energies together. We are definitely going to feel a major jolt, if anything. I think I heard, I don't remember which astrologer it was, but they said it was going to be like a caffeine buzz. The days right around the ingress, which is when Mars moves into the sign of Gemini. The energy is always a little bit more concentrated on that day, and that is March 4th. It's actually the evening of March 3rd, so I'm just considering it March 4th for the purposes of this video. It's gonna be staying in its little sign of Gemini for an extended stay of almost 2 months. It'll be moving out on April 22nd. So we have a couple months to really get some stuff done here, to be super motivated. It has a lot to do with movement, Gemini does, of short distance travel. So moving around a lot of different places. You might find yourself super busy and on the daily with different tasks, doing many different things. You might feel extra communicative, like a social butterfly, really wanting to talk to a lot of people. You may even feel more of a drive for intellectual stimulations, study of whatever kind. This is a great energy for initiating new things. But we want to be a little bit careful because Gemini tends to initiate many different things at once, and then it gets into it. It's got so many things going on that it loses track of all the little things that it's doing, and then the energy tends to fizzle out quickly, and it doesn't really have that follow through. And that's the same for Mars. Mars tends to really be action oriented, a great starter, initiating type of energy, but it's hard for the follow through. So we want to make sure that we're really trying to focus, whether that be with to-do lists or if we catch ourselves doing too many things at once, we try and make a conscious attempt to maybe slow it down, pull it back, and narrow our focus on 2 to 3 things rather than 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things, okay? So from there, I already talked about the potential of maybe getting bored easily with what you do. You want to make sure that you're keeping busy during this time, keeping yourself mentally stimulated, because you don't want this energy to turn into any type of anxiousness, or it can really get the mind moving fast. So if you are somebody who already has a lot of mental chatter and it drives you crazy or it makes you feel very unsettled, it may be even more beneficial for you to try to stay busy at this time, or maybe filter a little bit more time into your spiritual practices, your meditative routine, or whatever it is that you do to try to help ease the stimulation of the mind just a little bit. It'll help you to know that it's going to be a little bit more stimulated during this time. So very busy energy, you guys. I'm honestly really looking forward to it. I feel like Mars and Taurus, it really slows things down. There was a part of me that I was feeling the Mars and I was really wanting to do certain things, and I was feeling like a mental drive to want to do it, but I literally did not feel like I could in my body. I felt very slowed down, and I'm sure a lot of the clients that I work with for readings or coaching have told me the same thing. They just kind of felt stuck, almost like they were stuck in mud or something like that. So it's going to be really refreshing nonetheless to have this energy. I am super excited. We've got some really great stuff coming up this spring. And yeah, so make sure you're watching your words carefully too, you guys. Gemini tends to be very quick-witted, but they also tend to think and speak and take action impulsively without really taking the time to kind of slow down and think about what it is that they're saying or that they're doing. And then later on, they may regret the things that they did or said because they didn't really take the time to think it through, or they didn't think about the repercussions long term, right? So with Mars really amping up that Gemini energy, it's just like adding a flame to the fire, right? It's like explosive kind of energy when we add in Mars, that fire energy. So be extra cautious so that you don't get yourself in some type of confrontation or aggressive argument or something like that with someone. So as we go into this 2-month-long stint of Mars being in the sign of Gemini, the energy will change throughout the 2-month span, right? So the first month is going to be very interesting. So all this energy I'm talking about that's super motivating, Mars has got that will to achieve, to that drive, that ambition, and Gemini is that mental energy. But the interesting factor here that underlies all of this is that the sun, which is all about our purpose, our passions, it also has a lot to do with our drive and our ambition, our vitality, and it is with Venus in the sign of Pisces right now. Now, we've got a lot of this fire and air energy with Mars and Gemini that's a lot more active, but Pisces tends to be more receptive energy. It's emotional. It's a water energy. It's more about sitting back and taking things in from your environment. It's about rest, relaxation, spirituality, really taking that time to rest and retreat, revitalize yourself. So there are like two opposing energies here, and I think it's going to be very important that no matter what, no matter how motivated you feel, no matter how much drive, ambition that you have inside of you, that you take extra precaution and you take that time out to make sure that you are still resting, rejuvenating, replenishing yourself whenever your body feels like you need it. Even if you don't feel like you need it, make sure you're still setting time aside. Mars is an energy that can tend to burn itself out. It is, like I said, an initiating energy. It's really excited to start things, but then it can get slowed down, maybe with the Gemini involvement. It could get bored and not have enough things to bounce off of back and forth, and it can tend to burn out. So just make sure that you're finding a nice, happy balance between the energies here. Now, it's gonna get really interesting near the end of March going into April, because this is when the Aries energy starts to come in, and that adds a fire element. Aries, Mars actually rules Aries. So this is going to be really interesting dynamic. Aries is a fire energy. It's all about passion. It's about taking action. So I'm almost starting to think that a lot of these ideas that we're having with Mars and Gemini, and a lot of this research that we're doing and intellectual work that we're doing and planning and putting in the preparation, feeling motivated, getting a lot of projects started. And this Aries energy that's coming in is going to help us really get these projects started, to really initiate what it is that we've been thinking about, that we've been wanting to do since Aquarius season, right? When we've had these big grand ideas and we just weren't quite sure how to implement them, when to start them. We didn't feel like it was the right time. Well, this is the energy I believe that will be coming in to kind of clear the way so that we can get these things put into motion. So I'm really excited for the end of the month for this Sun to move into Aries. Venus is going to move into Aries. So we're going to have a lot of fiery energy, you guys. So this should be really exciting. I'll talk a little bit more about Mars and Gemini as the transit proceeds through April, but I at least just wanted to cover a little bit about the beginning of the transit. It looks like it's going to be a great time, super refreshing from where we've been and everything that we've been through over the course of the past year and a half. And I don't think we have had a more normal looking month in a really long time that brings a lot of harmony and motivation and excitement. So now we're gonna go ahead and move into readings for all 12 signs of the zodiac. Now, the way that I'm gonna be breaking this down is by rising sign. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a rising sign calculator in the description box below. If you're not aware of what your rising sign or ascendant sign is, then you can go click the rising sign calculator. You just need your exact date, time, and location of birth, okay? Now, if you don't have that information, that's okay. Secondarily, you can check for your sun sign, which is just your normal date of birth that everybody pretty much knows because it was the day that you were born, right? So let's go ahead. We're going to start with Aries. So Aries, Mars in Gemini is going to be occurring in your third house. So this is going to be super, super busy energy for you guys. Lots and lots of short trips. It rules over things like the errands that we have on a daily basis, the little tasks that we have. So if anything, it's going to be very important for you to put this on to-do list. Try to stay as organized as possible because Gemini is that busy energy. It always starts a million things at once. It can be kind of scatterbrained at times and be all over the place. So if you can try to eliminate that and maybe channel it into a more organized approach with to-do lists, giving yourself a nice schedule for the week, that is going to help you tremendously. Now, you might just start to see an increase in the amount of text messages, phone calls, email communication that you start to receive throughout this entire 2-month span. That will definitely be amping up. If you are if you have a business, you might find that that gets more busy, or you might even initiate a business endeavor at this time, which is very, very exciting. So starting a business, or maybe it is some type of teaching endeavor. Maybe you're starting a new teaching job of some sort. This is also an amazing time where you might feel more motivated. You might feel the urge to take action in regards to starting some new type of learning. Maybe you start a new program. Maybe you are going on to become a life coach, or maybe you want to study something that would help you move you into some place that you want to go in your future. It's a great time for that right now too. I do want to add in here as well, this is a very active time for the mind. The third house rules over our thought processes and communication and the mind and the intellect. So you might notice that the mind is a little bit more scattered, lots and lots of busy thoughts. So making sure that you're resting, retreating, taking the time to meditate or focus the mind in whatever way, shape, or form you do that, because there's going to be a lot of stimulation there, and you'll need to keep it intellectually stimulated throughout this time too. You may find yourself busy in terms of relatives, cousins, siblings, or maybe just in your local community at this time. So watch out for any aggression or confrontation or urges to maybe say things in a harsh manner or any type of interaction like that with any of these types of people as well. Taurus. Taurus, this Mars in Gemini is going to be occurring in your second house. So this is going to be maybe a motivating factor where you might feel a pull, feel an urge to come up with new ways to make money, to bring in new resources, to build up assets for yourself. So maybe you start to research or get really interested in intellectually stimulating yourself as it pertains to stocks, bonds, investments of some sort. Maybe you get really into researching cryptocurrency or new ways of channeling and funneling your money in some way, shape, or form. You might feel really intellectually stimulated and developing some type of new skill that would eventually bring you in more money, bring you in resources, or some skill that could help you get a job that would help to increase your finances in some way, right? Now you want to watch out that there's maybe no aggression or conflict or some type of strife or situation pertaining to assets and finances of some sort. And watch that you don't overspend, maybe just out of pure boredom. Geminis tend to get really bored and maybe do some type of online shopping just out of curiosity of what's out there and wanting to spend money carelessly. So you want to be extra cautious of that right now too. You may actually come across more than one opportunity to make money during this time frame. So good thing you're going to be extra motivated to get out there and maybe try to make some cash, right? Super exciting. And yes, also a little bit of an extra focus on building up your self-worth. You might feel a drive to really think about what you truly value, how you value yourself, and maybe how you didn't value yourself in the past, and cutting out anything that would make you feel less than you deserve in terms of your self-worth. All right, moving on to Gemini. So Gemini, it is all about you, baby. This Mars is going to be in your first house. That is a really exciting time. And I'm a little bit envious of you guys. This is so great. So when Mars is in your first house, it brings you a lot of life, a lot of vitality. The first house represents the body, the personality. It represents all things pertaining to you. So it's going to give you a lot of motivation, determination, strength, and willpower, and courage as it pertains to developing you. You might feel extra independent during this time, and you'll have a lot of physical and mental energy. So it's going to be very important for you to keep yourself intellectually stimulated in whatever way that resonates with you. But you also want to make sure that you keep the body nice and physically active as well to help maintain and really increase the health, which you'll probably feel super motivated to do anyways. You want to try not to start too many new things. You want to maybe try to channel your energy and focus it in maybe 1, 2, or 3 important things. So that way you don't get too scattered, because Gemini does tend to kind of exude their energy and put their eggs in way too many baskets. And then they tend to fizzle out and not finish or follow through on a lot of those things. And when you have this energy, you want to make sure that you use it wisely, right? Especially when it's in your first house. It's all about building up who you are, becoming independent, becoming that badass that you're meant to be, right? So lots of motivation to do things, to be social. You might find yourself really being a social butterfly at this time. You definitely aren't going to want to be tied down by anybody. You might find yourself wanting to talk with all different types of groups of people. And yeah, like I said, try to keep busy, avoid mental gymnastics and anxiousness by keeping yourself busy, and maybe you need that meditative practice. Maybe you need some time to just still the mind, right? Gemini, one thing you do want to watch out for is being in the mood to maybe argue, debate, or maybe speaking too impulsively to someone in all this communication that you're doing. So try to maybe slow yourself down in that sense. And before you speak impulsively and say something that you regret that causes some type of aggression or confrontation, slow down, take extra time to think about what you're saying before you speak it. Cancer. Cancer, this is happening in your 12th house. So This is actually a little bit of a paradox here. And I'm a Cancer, so I'm really curious to see how this is going to play out for all of us. You're going to be very motivated to spend extra time in solitude, alone, and isolation. If you're familiar with the tarot deck, the 12th house would be representative of the Hermit card. So it's spending time away to intellectually stimulate yourself, as it pertains to deep internal studying of the subconscious mind. Maybe you find yourself reprogramming the subconscious mind or studying deep topics pertaining to spirituality, the occult, dreams, whatever it might be. You might actually have some pretty crazy dreams during this time too. You might find that maybe they have a more aggressive nature, a warlike nature. You might be processing some pretty hardcore stuff in your dreams if that is true. So lots of studying is going to be good for you at this time. Being super curious, doing a lot of research online, reading books, keeping the mind nice and stimulated, and maybe even really spending some deep time in meditation. The 12th house is definitely a place for meditation, for quiet, calm, relaxation. It's a time to work behind the scenes. The 12th house is the hidden house, right? So it is everything that is secret. So you want to be extra cautious as well during this time, that you aren't becoming too polarized and maybe getting wrapped up or entangled in some type of secrets that may cause some type of aggression or confrontation or bring you strife in some way, shape, or form. Now, this is also the house that is falling away from the first house. The first house was thought to be the helm. It's like where we are the captain of the ship steering our lives. So everything in the 12th house is falling away from control. So it also represents self-undoing behaviors. So pay extra close attention that you're not being motivated in all the wrong ways by maybe picking up old habits or old self-sabotaging behaviors in some way, shape, or form. There is also a possibility here for maybe having a little bit more of a difficult time with sleeping. It could produce insomnia. There also is always a possibility for illness of some sort. But overall, we could really make this an extremely productive time, focusing on resting, rejuvenating, while also stimulating the mind and maybe being super active and achieving something behind the scenes. All right, Leo, this Mars ingress into Gemini is going to be happening in your 11th house. This is a great house, super exciting. I just came out of a transit in my 11th house like this. So it's all about having motivation, will, drive, and courage to maybe really build yourself up on social media, on the internet. Maybe you're trying to build a following of some sort. Maybe you're on YouTube like this. And maybe you've got an online business that you're trying to build up. Some type of thing that pertains to online with technology and science, those types of categories. Now, this is a super communicative time with Gemini being a great communicator, very mentally stimulating energy. So if this is a time when you are public speaking or delivering messages to audiences, you will thrive in doing so. You may find that you spend extra time with large organizations or groups that you're involved in, and that you get the most work done at this time through groups in some way, shape, or form. There's going to be a lot of mental stimulation surrounding your hopes, your dreams, your goals, your wishes, and your ambition. This is going to be a time when it's imperative that you are setting and working towards goals. The 11th house represents all of these things. So please don't miss out on this great opportunity to do so. So this is also a great time, great social time. This house represents friends and acquaintances. So you may find that you are extra pulled towards being a social butterfly, really spending time with your friends. You might actually spend time with many different groups of friends at this time. Gemini tends to have their hands in a lot of different things. So you may find that you're super inquisitive or curious, that you might meet some new friends. But you also want to pay extra close attention that there is no confrontation, aggression, strife, or any type of situation like that with friends or groups of people, and that you don't speak or say something too impulsively, maybe if you're public speaking or saying something on some type of online platform that may maybe cause some disharmony or maybe set people off in the wrong way. So it creates maybe some type of banter or aggression. So take some time to really think about what you want to say before you just say it. I know that you might feel a little bit more extra witty and have a lot more courage, but it's important that you do take that time. All right, Virgo. Virgo, this is going to be an amazing transit for you. This is happening in your 10th house. The 10th house is all things relating to career, public sector, and it's the house of leadership, right? So this is an amazing time where you're going to feel super motivated to take action, have a lot of willpower and courage as it pertains to your career. So what better time to maybe start a new career? You might even find that you're super busy right now. Maybe you are bouncing between two different careers, maybe trying to figure out which one you want, which one you don't, or maybe you're trying to finish off one job so that you can totally move into the other. But this is overall a very, very busy time in your career sector. It's a very public house. It's at the very top of the chart, so it's the most visible, right? So this is going to be a really social time for you. You might be out in the public. You might receive some type of public recognition for maybe some hard work that you've done or something that you've put in. Try and be sure that you're not super neglecting other areas of life, like that 4th house, the opposite axis, because you are going to be so motivated and feel that drive towards career at this time. So you don't want to fall too far out of balance because Mars is that initiating type of energy, but you have to remember that it can be kind of impulsive in Gemini, starting so many things at one time, getting super exciting and then fizzling out and burning out very easily. So you want to make sure that you're trying to maintain that happy balance, right? Even though you might feel super excited to go towards that career sector of your life. So starting new businesses, projects, careers, being recognized by some type of authority figure or leader, or maybe you are actually stepping into some leadership position yourself. Watching out for confrontation, aggression, strife, or conflict in some way, shape, or form with authority figures, leaders, parents, bosses. So just be a little bit more careful for that. People in authority, there could be some type of aggression going on there. So just try and lay low if at all possible. Watch what you say. Make sure you're not speaking too impulsively. Libra, Mars will be moving into Gemini in your 9th house. What an amazing, expansive time for you. The 9th house is one of my most favorite houses. You're going to feel super motivated, have a lot of will, courage, and willpower to study some type of higher knowledge. This is the house of higher knowledge, of study, of spirituality, religion, all things of our belief systems, how we see the world at large, right? Our morals and our ethics. So this is going to be a great time to maybe realign yourself, refocus, and move towards what it is that you really want to achieve in the future. A lot of times we have to put in time, we have to put in effort and study to really get where it is that we want to go. So this is a great time for you to begin to lay that groundwork right now. Now, we want to be careful that there's no confrontation or anything, that we're making sure to stand within integrity and everything right now, because this is also the house that rules over law. So there may be some possibility for some type of lawsuit or something in the courts. So just being extra cautious, extra careful that there's nothing that could be cut out of your life here or causing aggression, confrontation, any extra strife or anything like that. Think expansion in this house, but more so on like an awareness level. So when I had a big transit going through this house, I had like a big spiritual awakening. So it really expands your consciousness, opens your eyes up to look outside the different paradigms, different ways of viewing things. And it could really open your eyes in so many different ways. This also is a house of international travel. So you might feel super motivated to maybe take a trip, to travel and adventure into different terrains that you've never been to before. So maybe you start the planning process for that right now. And maybe you somehow incorporate some type of cultural affairs in your life in some way, shape, or form. Scorpio, Mars will be entering Gemini in your 8th house. So this is an extra super hardcore transformational transit. The 8th house represents things like death and rebirth. So that doesn't necessarily have to be literal death, right? It could be transforming the person that you are. So you may be super motivated to do some healing work at this time, super deep healing work. Maybe working on past traumas that have happened to you, or you may have a lot of fears that are coming up that you need to confront at this time. So this is going to make you possibly super motivated to study occult topics. The 8th house represents all types of things like astrology, tarot, human design, maybe diving deep into some darker topics like conspiracy theories, where you start to kind of go down rabbit holes and you feel super motivated to just unveil information and keep peeling back the layers, right? So you might have a strong will or motivation to take action and really pay off certain debts. Maybe you pay off student loans or taxes or anything that you owe. There is also a possibility here of incurring debt. So you want to be extra careful with that. You could maybe lose or gain a partner's finances because the 8th house represents other people's money and how we're tied into that. So it's all about transformation though. Some type of frustration or conflict of some sort in your life might really drive you towards making some type of lasting transformation or change, right? So you might need that little fire lit under you to give you the motivation, to give you the courage, the willpower to really do that. And Mars is just the planet to come in and help you out with that. Just make sure you're watching out for any arguments or aggressive behavior, confrontation, or anything like that as it pertains to joint finances with another partner. Sagittarius, Mars will be moving into Gemini in your 7th house. The 7th house rules over relationships, commitment. Now, the relationships, they are usually more serious in nature. So they're one-to-one intimate partnerships with a marriage partner, a very serious relationship. But this could also be like a really close friendship or even business partners. So you might be super motivated to work on a partnership. Maybe you are deciding that now is the time, you're feeling extra courageous and motivated to take action to making a commitment of some sort, right? Or maybe it is that you want to find a serious partner, so you set out to do just that. Maybe you take a partnership that's a little bit less serious, that was just kind of in the dating stages, to the next level. You make a little bit more of a commitment. Maybe you decide to get engaged or take the next steps towards something like that. Or maybe you decide to combine with a partner. You want to start a business, so you maybe sign some type of contractual agreement, or you get the ball rolling with something like that. You want to watch out though for any conflict, aggression, or strife in partnerships. So there could be a possibility for some, aggressive behavior, some arguments that might occur. So just watch out for that. Be in the know. That will help you to maybe watch out for saying anything impulsively. The Gemini energy tends to speak and act without really thinking about it first, and it tends to be a little bit more impulsive, and then they might regret it later on down the road. So you might also be feeling an extra strong pull to be involved in some intellectually stimulating endeavors as it pertains to you and a partner. So maybe you start studying some interesting topics together, or you do some type of activity that really stimulates the mind, or you may find that you're just extra communicative and you have great communication with your partner during this time. Just watch out for any possibility of getting bored with one partner. Gemini tends to be an energy that likes to hop around a little bit from partner to partner. So you want to be a little bit careful with that right now, because Mars can produce that strife, that conflict. So if that is you and that rings true, just make sure that you're taking extra precaution and thinking things through before acting. Capricorn, Mars will be moving into Gemini in your 6th house. So this is going to be another one that is a very busy time. This rules our daily routines, our patterns, our habits, our routines, our work. So with that said, you're gonna feel super motivated to work, more so than ever right now. So I guess that's a good thing, right? You could actually be having more than one job that you are juggling or trying to balance at this time. There's a possibility that you could be starting a brand new job, and maybe a job's getting cut out of your life altogether at this point. So you could be slaving away lots and lots of hours at this time. You might even feel really motivated to focus on your physical fitness, your workout and health regime at this time, planning on meal plans and diet and really putting extra time into that. This house pertains to all of those things as well. Be a little bit more cautious for aggression, conflict, or strife at work. Now, this could be with other employees. This could be with your employees or with your coworkers. So you want to be a little bit more careful for things like that. Take extra care of pets with all of this busyness going on, and make sure that you're watching them if you're going out the door, that the door is closed, because Mars can tend to bring accidents of some sort. So you just want to be a little bit more cautious of that type of energy right now as well. The 6th house does rule small animals and pets. Make a to-do list. That's really going to help prevent scattering your energy in too many different places at one time, which can really produce a sense of anxiousness and mental gymnastics. So you want to make sure that you are trying to stay as organized as possible, making sure you have a healthy daily routine. So if you are focusing on a health and diet regime right now, maybe you plan ahead and you do meal planning or something like that to really help you with the busyness that life is about to take on for you at this time. Another thing you want to watch out for, the 6th house can indicate physical injury. So it could be even little things like you going from place to place. Mars energy is fast, it's motivated, and maybe you move a little too fast, so you stub your toe and it just kind of throws you off. So it will help you to try to be aware in every moment, slow it down a little bit so that you have the potential of possibly avoiding things like that. Aquarius, Mars will be moving into Gemini in your 5th house. This is an excellent place for Mars to be right now. It's the house that you'll be super motivated and feel like you want to take action for fun, enjoyment, romance, creativity. I mean, who doesn't want to do all of that, right? The only thing is with this energy is you may not be as motivated to focus in areas of life that pertain to more responsible, serious types of things. So you want to make sure that you set extra time aside for yourself in the next couple months to come for fun and spare time that you can do these types of things that you're going to feel more of a motivation and more pull towards at this time. So it could be really taking action and motivation as it pertains to dating. And Gemini likes to be curious and do more than one thing at once. They tend to be multitaskers. So you might be dating many different people at this time or feel the desire to do so just out of sheer curiosity and excitement. So that's totally cool. Maybe you'll meet somebody new that'll really be mentally stimulating for you, right? And there may be some great mental stimulation here as well with creative endeavors. So you may have some big opportunity and motivation to perform. Maybe you are an artist. Maybe you play music. Maybe you like to act or perform on stage. This is the house to do that. It also is the house that represents sports, athletics. And Mars also is tied in with athletics. So you might feel extra motivated to get out there and play some type of sport, right? So you want to also watch for any type of conflict, aggression, anger, confrontation, or anything like that on these dates or with these romantic partners that you might be going out on dates with, or any possibility of having conflict with children as well. But it could be a positive thing, and you could just be spending a lot of extra time with your children. You might be super excited and motivated to maybe do something fun with them, and this is a great time to do just that. So it may, like I said, it might be hard to take your responsibilities too seriously right now, and it's a really great time to start new hobbies. So you want to try not to start too many things at once. You don't want to waste your time. And this Gemini energy, like I said before, it puts too many eggs in too many baskets, and it may fizzle out. So it's great initiation energy with Mars here, but it's hard to follow through on all of that. So if you find yourself just starting way too many things at once, maybe try and pick the couple that are best suited for you for the long term, and really focus your energy intentionally into those. Last but certainly not least, we've got Pisces, and Pisces, Mars will be moving into Gemini in your 4th house. So similar to that of the 12th house energy, it's a little bit paradoxical. You will feel more motivated to relax, to be at home, to rest, rejuvenate with your family. It's a little bit more quiet time usually with Mars in the 4th house. So you might feel more of a responsible pull and motivation for some reason in family endeavors at this time. Watch out for aggressions or arguments at home. You may be feeling extra protective of your family, and there could be a lot of harmony as well, a lot of energy going on in the home, but you also want to watch out for any type of conflict, arguments that could occur as well with Mars. This is also a very great time where you could be buying a new home. You could be selling your home, moving, you could be redecorating, maybe landscaping, you could be buying property, or maybe getting into real estate or something like that. So all of these things fall into the domain of the 4th house. But this is a little bit more of an introverted time. You may feel the need to intellectually stimulate yourself, going inward, focusing on deep internal emotional things that are going on, and maybe doing research on how to heal or, really dive deep into emotions. Those are things that are all pertaining to the 4th house. So there you have it. There's your reading for all 12 zodiac signs. I wish you guys the best of luck in the next couple months with this energy. I hope this resonated with you. If you're interested in getting a personal reading with me, you can schedule one down below. I offer them for an hour as well as an hour and a half. And I also offer one-on-one coaching. So if you're interested, if you're going through a spiritual awakening or a big shift in your life, these are things that I specialize in. And you can schedule your first discovery session with me below as well. So like I said before, if you benefited from this, please tap that like button, hit subscribe for more spiritual and astrological content coming your way. Leave me a comment below. Let me know if this resonated with you. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace and namaste.